So, Mum and Daddy? Oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Thanks for doing the reading. I'll just need to get this out of my head and then I'll probably just like settle into the chair. I've driven down, it's taken me an hour and a half to get here, right? And the whole way down, my daughter's been in the car, for those of you that know her, whatever. And all I've had for an hour and a half is, it's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming. But it's that or Vindaloo. The whole way down, it's been football chants. I feel absolutely mental. I couldn't wait for, as much as I love her, so I couldn't wait for her to get out of the car so I could drop her off and just come here. And so I just needed to get that out because I can still hear it. I can still hear it. It's still going round in my head. And I was debating about what topic to choose. So it was either going to be keeping it real or love. And I thought, well, you can't sit there and talk about love for 20 minutes because you don't really feel that at the moment. I'm not feeling love at the moment. So I thought, I can't sit there and talk about that for 20 minutes. So I thought, well, I can talk about, I'm aware that this is an old-timers meeting. I'm aware that there might be newer people here or people earlier on in recovery. And I thought, well, you can just talk about just how I've stayed clean for this length of time and try to keep it as real as I possibly have. That reading, and I'm really bad, my memory's getting worse as I'm getting older, really bad. So you can read a reading and I'll really engage in the first probably 2 paragraphs and then I'm lost. I'm listening but it's not going in. And what I did hear from that reading was about sort of knowing my physical, like having physical awareness, mental awareness, spiritual awareness. And if I'm being really honest, I'm so busy most days that I don't even really truly know how I feel until I sit in a meeting, like for the first 5 or 10 minutes, and then I kind of land and I think, okay, all right. Or I might get to a meeting and just burst into tears and think, what are you crying for? I've got no idea what I'm going to talk about. I really haven't. I honestly haven't got a clue. I've been really busy working all day today, and as I said, I've been listening to football chants the whole way down, and I've really tried to focus on that meeting. I've said a little prayer before the share started, and I look around the room and there's people in here that just make me feel comfortable, and I feel like this is my reality, is I feel like I've got to give this big, grandiose speech that you're all going to laugh to, you might even cry. I haven't got the energy. I haven't got the energy. But there's people in this meeting from the very beginning of my recovery, and in September it's 23 years, isn't it? I'll be 23 years clean in September. And there are people in this meeting that really encouraged me from the really early days to be honest, to share what you need to share in meetings, because I used to really overshare, like every single thing, and I was always encouraged to just be me as best as I could in like any given situation. So yeah, I'm already thinking I don't know what to talk about. I find it really hard to focus on a topic. So if I talk about like keeping it real in recovery, right? So for me, as time has gone on, it hasn't been about using. There's been some really fantastic times in recovery, and there's been some really dark times in recovery. And in the really good times, I seem all right. I seem to manage with that all right. But in the really dark times, I don't think about. This is getting recorded, isn't it? I don't think about using, because I know that won't work. I go to darker places, much, much darker places. And I think about, if I just look at like the last 5 or 10 years of my life in recovery, it's probably been the hardest part of my whole recovery. The first 5 years, it was hard, but in a different way. I had a ball. I had a ball, even with the difficult times. Like I experienced death of someone that I really loved in early recovery. But I had such good people around me that I just got through that. And then the last 5 years, yeah, they've just been really hard. And I have reached them really, really dark places where I was like, this isn't worth it. And I think, I don't know about you, but I put a lot of pressure on myself where I think I can't go into a meeting and share that that's how I really feel. I can't say that because there might be newcomers in the meeting, I might put them off, or, you know, you're not carrying the message, you're carrying the mess. Like I still have this dialogue that goes on in my head that's like, you can't really say that, Sarah. But it's the same dialogue I had when I came into meetings early in recovery, when I used to want to use all the time. I used to want to use. My obsession to use wasn't lifted immediately for me. That came over time when I started doing all the stuff that was suggested, the step work, the meetings, and all of that stuff. But it's that same voice, and I had the same voice when I started uni. It's like, you should know how to do this. No, you forget that you're there to learn, but you should know how to do this. It's like, you should know how to stay clean. You've been coming to meetings long enough. And you should know how to reach out when you're in trouble. And sometimes I just can't. Sometimes I don't want to. Sometimes I want to be isolated. I want to be hidden away in my little place in Essex because no one can get me there. Do you know what I mean? And then there's the other side of that where sometimes I feel incredibly, incredibly lonely. And when I thought about that, doing that reading about love, I thought, well, who are you going to talk about? The dog? Because it's unconditional. I know that's not true. Do you know what I mean? I know that's not true. But that's still, my head can still think really negative thoughts, and I don't need to be tired to think those thoughts. I don't need to be spiritually unwell to think those thoughts. Like, sometimes they just happen. I just think, go through phases of like, what's the point? Or, you know, sometimes it feels like I'm trudging through mud. But despite all that life stuff that goes on, despite the difficulties in work, and I've got some people in work that are really challenging, despite the fact that I'm in a significant amount of debt, is really challenging. Despite the fact that I feel really, really lonely at times on my own in my lovely little place. Despite all of these sort of like negative parts of either myself or my life, I don't really know what you want to call it, I still go to meetings. And I still try to look for hope. Because if I don't find a glimmer of hope, I'm giving up. And sometimes when I can't see the hope, I rely on other people to say to me, there's hope there, Sarah, there's hope there. You will find hope. The light will shine. It will be all right. Just trust it will be all right. And my experience has always been that. It has always been all right. I still have the roof over my head. I can still drive to get to meetings. I can still drive to get to work. I've still got a job. I haven't lost, I haven't lost people around me in the sense of, like my daughter's not been taken out of my care. I've got an awful lot to be grateful for, but I don't find it easy a lot of the time. That's the truth. I don't find it easy. And at the moment, like if this reading's about keeping it real, I am writing actively, like truthfully. I'm not just like saying I'm doing it, but I am actively writing a step 4. And everyone I kind of encounter is just, it's just like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I think, oh, this is never going to end because I'll just keep adding more and more and more and more. But that's one thing I've always done, and I've been shown that by the people in this room. There's a number of people in this room tonight that have shown me that. Keep turning up to meetings. All you've got to do, Sarah, is get through today. It's one day at a time. Reach out to people, carry on doing your step work. Do service. And I think since I moved, I've been living in my house now for nearly 7 years. And when I moved to that area, I didn't know no one. I didn't know a soul. And when I moved there with a partner I'd been with for a long time. And then not long after that, or during that process, my dad died and he left like within 6 months. And oh my God, and it was all around the pandemic time, 2021, 22. And I've got to be honest, it was like the hardest time of my entire, like not even recovery, like I think my entire life. And then what I did was I was kind of forced to go to meetings in that area. I found it really difficult. I felt like a newcomer in these meetings. I struggled. I felt like I didn't fit in. I went to one meeting, sat there for 5 minutes, walked straight back out. I thought, these are not my people. But they were my people. They were just different. I was so used to this, and I had really good, close relationships with a lot of people, like especially in this meeting. But I had to accept that I was living there, and I just had to crack on with it. So I just persisted. I just kept going, and I took service on. I thought, you're going to have to take service on. There was something in that reading as well about like supporting newcomers or getting out of self. There was something along those lines. And I remember around that time of when the ex left, I took a commitment on as a newcomer rep at a meeting, and I'm keeping it real and I'm being really, really honest. I couldn't. The thought of supporting a newcomer was just too much because of the stuff that had gone on between me and the ex. And I had these massive resentments towards every single newcomer, but I never had the resentment towards them personally. It was just whatever it was going on within me. But I still took the commitment on, despite having all those feelings. And then I just took service on in the meetings in my area, and I've just been doing that because it's so easy for me just to pull away and think about what little tragedy story I can create in my little place down the end of the garden where no one can find me. Like, I have scenarios that go round in my head when I feel really, really dark. So, but this is me. There's no airs and graces with me tonight. I'm being very honest. I'm being very open. I am still working the program. I'm so relieved. I am still doing this stuff. I still reach out. I'm sponsoring somebody. There was something in that reading as well about sponsoring. I've got 2 sponsees. One of them just recently celebrated 3 years. And that isn't because I've done anything in particular. It's because she was ready. I can't even explain. It's such a lovely feeling to see and watch someone grow and go through that journey, and that's not down to me, that's down to her putting the work in. If I don't keep it real, if I don't sit and share honestly, then I won't encourage other people to do the same, because I remember, like in the really early days, I'd want to share something in a meeting, but I wouldn't be able to say anything, and I'd sit really, really quiet, and then someone would share something similar, and then that would give me the courage to say what I needed to say. And I've always remembered that. There's a lot of things I just think, just do that. And one of the things that Roz has always said, that I have to say, is that despite yourself, there's a thing that Roz always used to say to me, like, despite... I still keep coming back. Recovery still works with it in my life, despite myself sometimes, despite that noise that goes on in my head. I have all these thoughts, I have all these feelings, but I still turn up to work every day. I still manage difficult people every day. I still try and support my family. I still try and support newcomers, despite the noise, despite the feelings. I still go out the step work. And I just try and be the best version of myself. And some days I'm not good. Some days I'm not the best person to be around. Some days I feel like I can just be a really horrible person and not the kindest person, and I can annihilate myself. And other times I think, oh Sarah, you're all right. That is why I couldn't talk for 20 minutes about love. But I'm going to just wrap up with this, that something I do feel really, really incredibly proud about. It probably don't really mean much to you, but it means a lot to me. Is I signed up for the Alzheimer's Society trek, right? So it was 26 miles. I didn't do 26 miles, by the way. But I signed up for 26 miles and I trained for 26 miles. And it was on Saturday. And I did it to raise money because my mum has vascular dementia. And because I can't fix her, and because I can't change the situation, it's the only other thing, other than being there with her and just watching the change, it's the only thing that I feel that I can do to make, I don't know, I can't even explain it. I can't explain what it does for me. I think maybe to manage my feelings around the situation. So I did it, and I raised a nice bit of money, and I feel so happy. But yeah, I was really upset because they said we couldn't do the 26 miles because of the heat, because it was too hot and it weren't safe and all of that stuff. But they let us do the half. I've got to be honest, I'm glad. I trained, but I didn't train for 30-degree heat. Seriously. So I was really upset, and it's really bizarre because I felt like, I know it's not real, but these are my feelings, right? I felt like I was letting my mum down because I weren't doing the 26. I felt like I was being a fraud because I was being sponsored for doing 26 miles. I felt like I wanted to tell the whole world, well actually I told as many people as I could, that I can't do the 26, I can only do the 30, it's out of my hands. And then I was like, well, how can I do the other 13, how can I do the other? And I thought, Sarah, just let it go. Just let it go. I feel incredibly proud that I did it. It felt really special. I felt really emotional. I still felt, that was on the Saturday, I still felt emotional on the Sunday, and but now I feel really good about it. And now I'm thinking, what next? So I have no idea what just came out of my mouth. I kind of want to say I don't really care, but I probably do. But I'm not here to impress. I haven't got that thing in me, like, I haven't got the energy for that today. I just want to just be me, and this is me being real. I've got nothing more to say really. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you.